From Hong Kong, Chicago, and the city of Stoke-on-Trent, this is the Classic Lenses podcast. Hello and welcome to episode 143. My name is Simon Forster and I'm almost joined by Johnny Sisson, more on that later, and Perry G. Hello, Perry.
Hello.
As you can tell, Johnny's not quite here at the moment, and we're not 100% sure if he's going to join us or not. Johnny's not been feeling too well, so he says he's going to try and join us if he can. So if a door breaks down and Johnny walks in, that will be the reason why. So fingers crossed, Johnny be with us. But although we don't have Johnny with us at this moment, we do have a guest, and it's a returning guest. And it's a special returning guest. So special, we have sent our guest, or we're about to send our guest, to a desert island. And that guest is Isabel Curdes. Hello, Isabel.
Hello. I'm glad to be back, although maybe I shouldn't.
Well, we're certainly in a case now where it'd be great if we could actually show people what the views that we actually currently have at the moment, because we can see each other. But Isabel is on a beach with a beautiful blue sky behind her, so she's really got into character here. So really gone the extra mile. So well done there, Isabel. And did I say your name? I struggle with your surname. What is the correct way of saying your surname?
Curdes.
Curdes. You make it sound easier, and then I can't say it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for a while.
Yes, exactly. You're used to it. Yeah.
I've practiced.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you here. And you were last with us in episode 77, which was best part of 2 years ago. It's not quite 2 years, but it wasn't that far off. And that was back in July 2019, and that was a great year for guests. But I was going to say you were one of the most memorable guests that we had on in 2019, without any shadow of a doubt. So it's absolutely brilliant to have you back. If anybody has not heard episode 77 with Isabel, you must go and listen to it, because if you're interested in lenses, it is just an absolutely incredible one. And if you do, have Isabel's Instagram account tuned up, so you have to go back in time a fair bit to actually see some of the photographs we were discussing, but they're absolutely well worth looking at again, because they were just stunning, absolutely stunning photographs. And they were done in such a way that the lenses played a big part in how those photographs look, and that's why we love Isabel.
Thank you.
So it's been, as I say, it's not really nearly 2 years, but it's certainly well over 18 months. So what have you been up to since you were last with us?
Yeah, that's exactly the problem. What has anyone been up to for at least 1 year? Not much, I guess. I actually can't remember what I did before that. I remember that I started painting, which I still do quite a bit. So whenever someone checks out my Instagram, they will also see some of my paintings. And apart from that, I think my real photography started only again a few months ago. So somewhere in the middle of 2020, when everyone was in lockdown, and I felt the lockdown pretty much. So I started a project to document my way of lockdown. So that's pretty much what I've been up to. It's a project called, and now Perry probably now it's Japanese, so it's called Yugen. It's a Japanese word for something that is very simple, very ephemeral in a way. And I took all the shots within walking distance from my home so far, and the project is ongoing. And again, lenses play a special role in that one, but more about those lenses in a bit.
Well, the project, I mean, if I go to your Instagram feed and look at the actual, there's a body of work there at the moment, and it's abstracts and close-ups and tiny parts of the image is in focus, but what's in focus is the reason why that part is in focus, and so on. Is that part of the project you're talking about?
Yes. Yeah. That is basically the large part of a body of the project, but it's still ongoing, and there will be more of that type of photography. So it's basically close-ups down to macro. And they're all done without processing again. There is no or hardly any. Maybe I did some white balance adjustments, but that's probably, or set the white point differently, but that's pretty much it. Everything else is just straight out of camera.
Yeah.
So the lenses again play a big role. Yeah. And that's the project.
Are these primarily on your Fuji GFX as well, are they?
Yeah, they are. They all are. Yeah. No, so not just primarily, but all of them are.
Yeah. I'm slightly hesitant to ask you about the lenses that you used here for what we're actually going to be talking about later. So I'm not going to do that. But
exactly.
Again, for people listening, if you have the opportunity, head over to Isabel's Instagram feed, and you can find it very easily because it's Isabel Curdes, and that's her name that I can't pronounce properly, is Curdes. So it's Isabel.Curdes on the Instagram. So it's a really easy one to find, and it's just beautiful. I mean, this is what happened last time, actually. I think we just fell in love with your Instagram feed and then just spent half the show going, oh, wow, look at that photo. What lens did you use for that? So, yeah. Yes. So, shall we head on to the main reason for doing this show, Perry, or is there anything you might wish to add into what I'm just saying?
No, that sounds good. Give me 1 second. My cat is just like trying to do crazy things to my legs, so I'm going to put her in another room, and then we'll come back and do this. That's why. I mean, we all have our cameras on, and you probably noticed I've been like looking down as Isabel has been talking for the last little bit. And I
was going to say that's the thing. I haven't actually been looking at you because I've just been stuck on Isabel's Instagram feed again, which is it's something. It's a good place to be. Let's just take a little break there. I'll just take
one cat.
Okay. Sorry about that. I'll be right back. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sorry about that. Normally she just sleeps on the floor, but this time we started, and then she heard me talking, and she's like, "What you doing? What you doing? What's you doing? Can I do it? Can I do this?"
Probably noticed that I have a dog here.
I don't think she would see that. Yeah. Oh man.
Cats can sense that.
So, 22. 15. Okay, so the main event we're going to do for the first time in ages. We're going to do Desert Island Lenses. Now, the last time that we did this, it was with somebody that wasn't with us, and we did it posthumously for Carl, and it's not far off 12 months since Carl. Sorry, 2 years. 2 years since Carl left us. So, but the last time we actually did a Desert Island Lenses, it was with Cheyenne Morrison, and so it's great to be able to kick this off again this year. Because, like I say, we didn't do one with a guest that was with us last year at all, and I'm delighted to have Isabel here to do this. So, before we get into it, I will just read through the script I wrote that I usually struggle with, but I'm going to still give it a go anyway, because I've just put this into Comic Sans, which apparently for dyslexic people it makes it easier to read. So this is a social experiment right in front of us right now. But this is what I sent to Isabel, and I already know she's going to try and bend the rules.
Of course,
just like Perry did, and I think just about everybody bends the rules. So that's fine. Okay. So then, Isabel, your ship, the SS Tessar, has sank, and No, I've already gone wrong in the first one. Your ship, the SS Tessar, has capsized and sank after encountering a freak wave and lies at the bottom of the sea. You've been washed ashore on an amazing island with just about every photographic opportunity, including people shots, available to you. The island has a fully equipped powered dark cave and a solar-powered computer running your preferred processing software or selection, and has a selection of lens adapters. A trunk is washed ashore, and it contains 2 camera bodies. Your choice, whether that be digital or analog or both, along with 3 lenses that you have picked from your collection. You must own these 3 lenses. So the question is going to be, what are the 3 lenses that you would want to have with you, and why? And if you were able to have a free choice of one more lens, what would it be? And obviously we'll do that free choice one at the end. So I think we should start off with cameras first. So tell us about the cameras that you've brought with you.
Definitely my current one, my Fuji GFX 50R, because basically because I can use nearly all lenses on that one. It's amazing. Due to it being mirrorless, it has this nice distance, so that whatever kind, can be 35 millimeter lenses, can be medium format lenses, it can be large format lenses. I can get them all onto it. And I love the sensor. Yeah. I've been working with that sensor for a long time, also when I had the Hasselblad. So I'm used to that sensor. I like how it renders things. Yeah. So Fuji GFX 50R is my camera of choice.
So that's a camera it's a Fuji camera that's got a shutter speed dial on there. Is that right? Is it the one with the shutter speed dial?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Do you find that shutter speed dial is of any use to you whatsoever? I'm just curious.
Yes, I use it.
Okay.
So Simon is the only person on the planet who doesn't like the shutter speed dial. We've had this argument hundreds of times where, it's a wonderful piece of design, but
yes,
no, Simon likes, Mr. Forster here likes unlabeled dials that don't show you what you're doing.
No, I like it because it reminds me of my film cameras. It's just nice. I like a shutter speed dial.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. Well, we'll move on from that.
Yes. Okay. We move on now.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's quite interesting. There's the Fuji GFX. It seems to be gaining a bit of popularity recently. We've got in our Facebook group, we've got Lawrence Dunn, who's loving his. I think has he got the. I'm not sure if he's got the same one as you. Actually, I think he may have, and also Nick Lyle of the Homemade Camera Podcast has just bought one. And he's doing lots of weird and wacky things with his. And I was listening to him actually on his podcast, Homemade Camera Podcast, the other day, and he described it as being like a full frame sensor, but with a bit stuck on the top and the bottom to square it up. I mean, is that a reasonable way of putting it?
Yeah, and I think that's probably why I like it so much.
Yeah.
And it gives me the best opportunity to have square shots because I have all the extra pixel I need.
Yeah.
So, and I love square. Still do.
Yeah.
Can't get away from square.
Right, because the native aspect ratio is not 3:2, right?
Yeah.
I think it's 4:3, isn't it? I think is it 3:4?
Isn't it 2:3?
No, it's definitely not 3:3. No,
I crop them anyway. So.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, and there is that XPAN mode on there as well, isn't there?
Oh yeah. Yeah. 65 to 24.
Yeah. It's you can have it all.
Yeah.
I usually use square. As most of the time, I use square, and funny enough, 5x7.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you using 5.7 if you as more of a landscape format? I'm just curious, actually.
I do. I use it actually for Hochkant.
Portrait.
Not landscape, but
portrait. Yeah.
Portrait, exactly, portrait format. I don't do portraits, so I don't think of the name portrait formats. Yeah. That's why I like it.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing, but it just feels very natural, 5x7.
Okay.
Maybe it's because I always wanted a 5x7 camera also. That's the only thing I haven't tried.
Yeah, they're huge though. That's the problem with them. They're absolutely massive. I've got a Kodak half plate camera, which I've now discovered that half plate film holders are the same size as 7x5 or 5x7 film holders. So I could, although the actual half plate is actually slightly smaller than 5x7. So if I was to put 7x5 film in there, I would end up with cropping the edges of the photograph, but it's so little. The difference is it's very, very close. So, I do fancy doing that, but I don't actually have a film holder of my own to go in there, so I'm a bit stuffed on that.
Isabel, how are you finding the experience? Because you mentioned, lenses of all formats. How are you finding the experience of using large format lenses on that thing?
Yeah, I remember that last time I said that I didn't really like the large format ones adapted, but I've changed my mind. I've adapted one, and it works nicely.
I'll
show you.
Will we be talking about it? That's
we'll be talking about it. For anyone who wants to see a picture later, those guys can take a screenshot, so you can actually see it. I have it with me.
All right, good stuff.
Excellent. Okay, so that's camera number 1, and what's camera number 2?
Yeah, camera number 2 is a bit tricky. I've thought about it really a long time. I would love to have taken the Hasselblad Flex body, but I don't own a Hasselblad lens anymore. And adapting something to a Hasselblad body is not that easy as adapting it to a Fuji GFX body.
Yeah.
So although the Hasselblad Flex body, is still one of my all-time favorite cameras, I didn't pick it. Instead, I go with a speed graphic, 4x5.
Ah,
nice.
Yeah.
And because all the adapters are on the island, I have, of course, a roll film adapter, and I have, of course, my normal 4x5 film, and I have, of course, a digital back adapter with a digital back attached to it. So that wouldn't be bending the rules, would it?
No. No. Yeah. But you've really quite surprised me there, because when you first became known to me, and I think the first time I heard you was actually on the Sunny 16 podcast, and you were very much a large format photographer back in the day.
Yeah.
And then by the time we got to speaking, because I initially had lined you up to do the other podcast that I'm involved with, the large format photography podcast, and then you went onto Twitter and saying I've had enough of film and I'm just going over to digital completely, and you got rid of the majority of your analog equipment, including large format, and and now you would actually bring a large format camera to the island. So does that mean you're sort of getting a little bit more of an interest in large format again? Is that behind it?
I think I've never lost the interest in large format. I really love large format. It's just for the majority of the things that I do, it just doesn't make sense. It's not flexible enough. It's not. I like to do my things handhold.
Yeah.
And the only large format camera, there are now a few where you could probably do that. There's also a chroma camera where you could probably use it handheld. And the speed graphic is the only other one. But it's still cumbersome. It's awkward. It's not natural. So that was one of the reasons why I went away from large format. But the image quality and the lenses you can use, that's still, I love them. And to see a large format lens on a 4x5 film is still, it still gives you that little extra than seeing it on a digital sensor, even if it's a nice sensor like the Fuji one has. It's there's still a little bit extra seeing it on film.
Using a lot extra, arguably.
A lot of space and also a lot of character. When you then use what I love to use, some slide film. it's just special.
Yeah.
Right. Plus,
So,
if you're
yes.
stuck on an island, you've got all the time in the world.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So it would have to be a speed graphic.
Okay, just for the some of the listeners that might not understand the significance of a speed graphic as well, and where that fits in with different lenses. Most large format cameras use lenses that have a shutter built into the lens, which is actually the reason why adapting things to a Hasselblad is a bit of a pain, because most of the Hasselblads, the older Hasselblads, not all but most, need to have leaf shutters built into the lenses, because the camera itself does not have a shutter, whereas a speed graphic, it does. It has a massive shutter at the back of it, a focal plane shutter, cloth focal plane shutter, which works in the same principle as a regular SLR camera and so on. So yeah, that's quite interesting, because you can then start using things like aeroectars or very large projection lenses and things like that, which is where my interest is in that kind of thing at the moment. So okay, so we've got two pretty different cameras there, different technologies, and opens up lots of different ways of taking photographs. So what would be your first lens?
The first lens is actually on my camera at the moment on my Fuji. It's the Mamiya Secor C 80mm 1.9.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
on. Yes, and it works wonderfully. It works beautifully on the Fuji GFX. It's as if it was made for it.
All right, so tell us about this lens. I have this lens, just full disclosure, but I'm going to hold my tongue right now. Tell us about this lens and your experience shooting it. I'm surprised. I don't know why I'm surprised, because it's an awesome lens, but I'm like sort of kind of delighted at this surprise first choice.
Yeah, no, it's a lovely lens. I like, of course, the speed. I like the super shallow depth of field I can get. And since it will be my widest lens choice, I also like that it's still, I can't call it wide, but it's at least slightly wider than the other ones I come up with. So I can do landscape, and I can get pretty close. What I like about it is also that it focuses on 70 centimeter. I think it's, all down to 70 centimeters. So I can get nice headshots. I can get full body shots if I wanted to take portraits. But the same way I can use it also for close-ups. And all the accessories are on the island, so I have a bunch of extension tubes waiting for me to get even closer. Yeah, I mean, it's a lovely lens.
I think that lens is the fastest medium format SLR lens ever made, if I'm not mistaken, like conventional.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
and considering that it was the standard on the Mamiya camera, it's actually quite interesting. So you get them also for really good prices. They are not out of the range expensive. So I think it's a lovely lens. It's light, it's small, considering medium format lenses. It works perfectly balanced on I'm holding it now for the guys on the camera. It works really nice with a good adapter. Working nicely.
Oh yeah, I mean, the 280 millimeters that are commonly seen on the Mamiyas are that one and the f2.8, and there's a lot of kind of back and forth about which the better choice is, but I'm it's nice that Johnny isn't here for this part, because I think Simon and I will both agree that like choosing the faster lens here is the superior choice.
Always.
Yes. You can get this beautiful shallow depth of field. And although I know there are discussions, some people like the bokeh of the Mamiya, others don't. It's like with all lenses, basically. I think when you pick the right background, it's a lovely bokeh. It has a really nice rendering for the out of focus areas, and when I get it focused, and I can do that nicely with a focus peaking on the Fuji, works like a blast.
Yeah, I think that lens is phenomenal. I mean, I shoot it on my Mamiya 645, and it's one of the few lenses that I'll grab sort of automatically if I'm shooting medium format with CineStill at night. just because it's fast enough. But I mean, a lot of lenses that are that fast, especially on medium format, can be a little bit iffy if you're going to shoot them wide open. But I mean, it's stunning wide open, and I think it just has a, it's got kind of a modern look, right? But not too modern. It's such a good lens. That's an awesome choice.
I agree. And it can do everything. I like that you can really use it from portrait. You could probably also do street photography down to, my kind of landscape shots, intimate landscapes. So quite a few of the pictures on my stream at the moment are also taken with that lens.
Nice. Simon, have you ever used that lens?
I haven't. I haven't used any of the Mamiya 645 lenses, but I find them quite an interesting range of lenses, because when you see them, they look like just normal lenses. They don't look like medium format lenses, do they?
Yeah.
So
they have a really nice size.
Yeah. The only thing that gives them away when you adapt it is just the size of the adapter, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's actually quite funny because I was debating between that one and a Rokkor lens, actually. The 58 millimeter 1.2 as my first choice, and I actually weighed them, and the Rokkor lens is heavier than the Mamiya lens.
All right.
And so I thought, okay, for just taking it with me, putting it in a bag, having it all around me all the time, the Mamiya is definitely also weight-wise the better choice. Even with the adapter attached, it was lighter than the 35 millimeter Rokkor lens.
Yeah, that Rokkor lens seems like a classic on the GFX now at this point.
Yeah,
it's one of the first lenses that people kind of gravitate to on that system because it covers it so well, and it's just such a cool look.
Which is why I'm going to sell it. Which I'm.
You can't possibly have no lens that other people are using, so no.
It's not possible. No. But Perry uses the Mamiya and likes it, so that's good.
Oh, I adore it, yeah. And you're right. The other thing with it is, I mean, the focus ring is wonderful. Right, it's the handling is very, very nice, but I'm always surprised because sometimes, like when I look at my medium format SLRs, they all kind of look the same. But then when I pick them up, it's significantly, as you say, smaller and lighter than, I mean, definitely the Pentax 6.7, but even compared to a Hasselblad, it's just, it'll slide into a bag in a way that some of the larger, beefier offerings just won't. Yeah, it's a good choice.
But it really looks like it's made for the Fuji. I was really surprised when I put it on. And the other nice thing about this one is also I use it with a handmade or homemade tilt adapter thingy. So just a rubber hose, and I have just the right distance, and I can do freelancing or kind of freelancing. It's not fixed attached, but still so, and that also it does it beautifully. So it's really versatile, and it's light enough that you can still hold it free, and it's just a super lens.
I think that's just worth touching on because, again, going back to your Instagram feed, and certainly one of the things I can remember when we had you on before is your use of tilt was, it played a big part, and it looks like it's still playing a big part in your photography now.
It's actually none of those are made with tilt.
Oh, okay.
They are really just done with focusing or unfocusing, defocusing. Whatever you want to call it. Yeah. I think at least that none of them is. There may be one, but not more than that.
Yeah. But again, for digital, it's something that you tend not to see much tilt photography.
No.
And I think it's great that that's something that you're doing there.
Yeah. There will be more of that again.
Good.
But more of that later.
Yes. Okay, well, let's move on to lens number 2.
Lens number 2 is actually not so different from lens number 1. It would be the Pentax 105 millimeter 2.4.
Mm-hmm.
So
fantastic.
And I've done loads of shootouts between those two lenses, the Mamiya and the Pentax, because I thought, okay, just it's not that much difference in focal length when you just look at the numbers. It's not that much difference in aperture, and still they are two different lenses. They render things differently. It's just I couldn't decide which one to keep or not to keep, so they both had to come with me to the desert island.
Yeah, I think that when you say there's not that much of a difference in focal length, there is, though. That is, 25 millimeters, and when you actually put that onto a larger format as well, then it exacerbates the difference because
it's at least enough difference to keep both of them.
But the other thing, Simon, is on a fixed format like a GFX, the difference will be pronounced, right? But if you use them on their native formats, if you put the 105 2.4 and the 81.9 on Pentax 6x7 versus 645, the end result kind of on paper is kind of similar. But they are, again, very different looking lenses.
Yes. It's so I think that the Pentax is such a beautiful lens. When you look at how it renders things, the smoothness of it, and the 3D effect that you get. I don't get that with any other lens to that extent. The Mamiya also does a good job, but the Pentax is just in another league there. So.
So I have that lens too, and the funny thing is, like, you literally just named two of my top 3 medium format SLR lenses, like, of all time, and it's precisely that quality. That 105 2.4 has this 3D look to it that is just out of this world. There's nothing quite like it. Every time I shoot that on Pentax 6.7, my mind is blown. Like, what did they do to this lens to get it to look this way? Because it's astonishing. I've never seen it on a smaller than 6x7 format. So I'm really curious on your thoughts on, like, I don't know if you've ever shot it on 6x7 or just on the GFX.
I actually haven't. I've only shot it on the GFX. I would love to shoot it on a Pentax, and because I saw some. Of course, I've seen some pictures taken with it, and they are just mind blowing. I think it does a really, really good job already on the Fuji, but I haven't shot it on the 6x7. So
that's cool though, because add a Pentax 6.7 to the list.
Considering the fact that I have a speed graphic with me on the island and a roll film adapter.
Well, don't worry about the roll film adapter. Just shoot it on 4x5 and then just crop away, because then you're going to get the whole of the image circle. I mean, that it's a legendary lens. We've talked about it on many occasions on the show, and it's universally loved. But one of the things that we like about old lenses is their imperfections, and you don't really get to see many imperfections with that lens. But if you put it onto such a huge film is 4x5, it will not reach I say it won't. I doubt very much it will cover 4x5 completely. I imagine there'll be a pretty hard vignette around the edges, but certainly I'd love to know what it actually does around the edges, because those are the areas which are the least corrected, and funky things.
So there you
happen.
get usually the swirlies and everything.
Exactly, yeah. So can you just imagine that? You'd have to crop it square and see if you can actually get that 3D pop and a swirl as well at the same time. That sounds fantastic if it does that, at least anyway.
I'm not sure. It's just, I mean, but definitely on 6x7.
Yeah. I mean, I did something a similar kind of thing to that with the Mamiya Press 100 2.8, which, and I put that onto I actually put it onto an MPP micropress, which is a British speed graphic. The principle's the same. And it was amazing to look through the ground glass, because that's one of those. It's a bit of a unicorn lens, and it's you never see them side by side with a Pentax 6.7 with that 105 2.4. But I suspect it would do a pretty similar job. It certainly in terms of sharpness, it's incredible at 2.8. I mean, when I've put it onto the ground glass and then looked through a loop and magnified what I was actually looking at, I was knocked out because I have not seen anything look like that on the ground glass of a large format camera before by looking through that particular lens. So I think you should do it. You should get yourself a speed graphic in real life and adapt it to it and just see what you can do with it.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, maybe get you back into large format there.
Get me back into large format.
And we were talking about the focus ring on the Mamiya 81.9, but I mean that Takumar, good lord,
you can focus on anything. It's so smooth. It's
so
incredible.
smooth.
Yeah. It's stunning. It's such a beautiful lens. It's also small enough. I think it's really, it has it all.
That's true. It's for what it is, it's not massive. I mean, it's designed to go on a massive body, but the lens on its own, it's kind of it's almost like some of those Hasselblad lenses where they're like wider at the base and sort of get thinner as they go up, and it makes them feel it makes them feel smaller and a little bit less obtrusive. It's got that vibe to it. Yeah. But I wonder with that lens, have you shot much backlit stuff with it? Because I think that lens does it just got this really wonderful way of rendering every single image, but it's one of those in particular that when there's backlighting, I think it does really beautiful stuff.
There are definitely some on my stream on my Instagram. I think I need to check if they're also backlit, but yes, definitely. It's it's just stunning in all light conditions. I think that's sometimes where the Mamiya has maybe a bit more problems than the Pentax. It's still really good. It's absolutely reliable, but the Pentax just handles it, easily.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because there have been a couple of situations where I've shot with the 81.9 and thought, okay, this lens is struggling a little bit here. But never with the 105. It's just this thing is phenomenal. No matter what you're shooting, it just rocks. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
So that would be lenses number 1 and 2.
Okay, and what's our third lens?
Okay, that's a large format lens. I talked about it also last time, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
it's a Hermagis Eidoscope.
Oh, good God.
Adapted to fit on a Fuji GFX.
What on earth? How? Okay, you've got to explain that rig there.
Yeah, could you get a screenshot of that, Perry?
Yeah. Hold that up.
I'll put it on the camera. I'll put it on the camera.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me take a screenshot of this. 1 sec. All right, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say while Perry's doing that, could you talk us through on the radio what each section of that contraption is from the camera end out?
From the camera.
Because we're looking at something that's like it's military.
But it's actually absolutely, as you can see, it's absolutely. I wave it around now for the guys so they can see it's actually not heavy or anything.
Yeah,
you can actually handhold this thing.
Wow.
Okay, so there is a Fuji to Pentax 6.7 adapter first.
Okay.
Then I have a Pentax helicoid extension tube. Yeah. So that's why the Pentax adapter comes in, and these guys are really lovely.
Yeah.
Because that gives me my focusing, and the rest is just normal Pentax 6.7 extension tubes. And then there's a few adapter rings to bring it to the format that fits exactly on the Hermagis Eidoscope.
Right. So what is the focal length of that lens?
I think it's 195 millimeter or something like that. It actually doesn't say on the lens. It's just that it's the number 4 lens. So it's not the shortest focal length, but the second shortest they made.
Okay.
And I think it's around 195 or so.
Okay, so I don't think when you've named that lens, you said it quite quickly. So what just for our listeners there, could you just give the lens its full name?
It's a Hermagis or Hermagis, whatever the French might call it.
French
Hermagis Paris Eidoscope 1-4.5 number 4 lens. It's I think it's more than 100 years old.
Yeah.
So
it's an 8x10 lens, right?
Sorry.
It's an 8x10 lens.
It's a 4x5 lens.
Okay.
So
I've seen people use them on 8x10.
Yeah, the bigger brothers, they are 8x10, but this is the one for 4x5. So it gives me quite a bit of room to maneuver, and it's a lovely lens.
Yeah. So what's
a soft focus lens?
Ah, okay. I was going to say what are its characteristics? Because this is definitely not a lens that gets talked about in day-to-day conversations.
No. It's a soft focus lens, and it's really it's special. And there you can actually look at my Instagram feed. The photos that are really smooth, as a really soft. They are taken with this contraption here.
Are they like the drops of water on cobwebs and things like that? Well,
the drops of water on there is one with a really colorful, also with a drop of water on a branch. I don't have my Instagram in front of me. To
be honest, I struggle to get past some of these anyway, because I think they're just absolutely beautiful.
But you've basically now seen the 3 lenses that took all those images that I've done recently in that project.
Yeah.
So it's one of them.
So I think that is I don't know how much of a difference there is between lens designs on the different Hermagis Eidoscopes, but I think it's a 4-element lens, right?
I think it's a double. What is it? Yeah, it's a 4-element lens, and I think the front and the back, aren't they?
It's a symmetrical. It's a symmetrical, but it's not.
It should be a symmetrical. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's nothing like a Tessar, so don't worry, Simon.
No. Oh, absolutely not. I knew the moment he sent me on an SS Tessar that was going to sink.
I got a feeling it sounds like a double achromat. Which on the large format photography podcast last time out with my co-host Eric Matthew makes his own lenses. We had an argument about as to how you actually add up how many elements there are in a lens, because he seems to be the opinion if you cement two lenses together, 2 elements together, it becomes one, which it sort of does, but I don't think you count it that way. So,
no.
I don't
think they're cemented. I think. Let me check. I can't really see it.
Or you won't be able to tell by just looking through it.
No, I'll just screw the things apart.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's a symmetric.
Yeah.
But not sure if it's achromatic.
Yeah.
But anyway. It's lovely. It is smooth. It is a soft focus lens, but it's not over the top soft. Also it's not like a Wollensag Verito or a what are some of these first those very first ones, soft focus lenses. They were basically meniscus types and completely uncorrected. What the Hermagis does beautifully, the Eidoscope, is it has actually a sharp layer. So you have there is a sharp layer underneath, and you have that softness from the light around it. And I think, I've not come across another lens that does it the same way. I think no, even that one not. No, I think it's, I like it. It's pretty unique.
Yeah, I mean, it's got that glow, but not in the sort of, in your face takes over the whole image way that something like the Lights Thambar does.
Yeah.
And it, I mean, this is just, it's such a cool lens. I've only seen it shot on film. I don't think I'm check, stalk your Instagram and see which images are shot with this. I don't think I've ever seen a lens like this shot on digital. Just because most people who own them are shooting them on large format. So how are you finding that? How are you finding that that's translating to the digital sensor? Like, are you noticing a significant difference in the look, or obviously you're cropping down to the center of the image, but
yeah, I think that's the only thing. But that's also the Hermagis the Eidoscope is not like a aeroactor where you really have a difference between the center and the frame and the parts around. So depending on how much you crop out of it, you lose some of the beauty of the lens. You don't have that with the soft focus lens. So I was surprised. I thought it would render less beautifully on the digital, and it would lose some of that special quality, but it actually doesn't. So I was really surprised when I got it finished here, my little Franken lens.
So when we last had you on, we talked about this lens, and you definitely had it at that time. The other two, did you have them before, or did you get them specifically for the GFX?
I got them specifically for the GFX. I think I had them. I had just got them at that point when we did the podcast, the first one. But I hadn't really used them that much yet. That only happened afterwards, and then they quickly became my favorite ones. But this one has been a favorite from the first time. I actually used that when I had my speed graphic. I used that on the speed graphic first, and I loved it so much that all my buying and selling excursions, it survived them all. It just stayed with me, and I had to find a way to adapt it to the Fuji and see how it works, and it works beautifully. And now we're doing something really special. I have a friend on Twitter. I think maybe, I don't know if you both know him, Dan Kay.
Yeah.
And he just made me a front standard with tilt that I can mount. I have an Arca Swiss rail. So I'm skipping all that part here in the middle, exchange it with a handmade bellows that he made for me, and then put his front standard and the camera on an Arca rail, and then use it with tilt.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, that's cool. You need a tripod to do that, though, right?
Nope. I'm pretty sure I can handhold it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, excellent.
That's cool.
I mean, you could also you could have your camera on continuous, couldn't you, as well? And so that if there's a little bit of movement in there,
there's a shot, then there is one.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty sure it's because the Arca rail is so lightweight, and then I have these things that slide on across it, and the rest is the front standard will be 3D printed. It's on its way to me, so I'm waiting eagerly to do the first test with it. So it will not be heavy, and then the bellows gets rid of all the heavy stuff that I have at the moment in between.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be heavier than what I have now.
Yeah.
And it gives me the possibility to tilt.
Yes. Yeah, I mean that was one of the things from the last episode where we talked quite a bit about some of the images that you made with the Hasselblad flex body.
Yeah.
And so you're emulating that, aren't you? Really? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
Exactly.
going to be exciting. That is.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
So, Isabel, on your Instagram page, around 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So let me just go to my. Can I just actually? No, I probably shouldn't stop this video here.
Posted around 7 weeks on March 2nd. There's this one. There's this one picture that's like. It's kind of some dead or dying plants in this sort of light brownish, slightly reddy image with a bunch of bubbles, kind of bokeh-like bubbles in front.
Yes, That was done with the Eidoscope.
Okay, because I was going to ask what is going on with this picture, and B, is that shot with the Hermagis Eidoscope? You've answered my second question already.
Yes, it is. So I'll open my Twitter now, and then I can actually tell you which ones are shot with the Eidoscope. So when you look at the grid, there are the ones where Simon got stuck with a cobweb and the water drops. Then comes some snow images in the next, and then one below. Those three are all taken with the Hermagis Eidoscope. The ones with the water droplet on the fir tree and on the branches, those are Hermagis Eidoscope shots.
Yeah, you can tell. You can absolutely tell. That's cool. And then the
one with the bubbles that you that you found out, and also both of them next to it. So all these three are also done with the Hermagis Eidoscope.
So for that one with the bubbles in the middle, what's going on with those bubbles at the front?
it looks like it's underwater.
Well, exactly.
It's just water drops. It's water droplets.
So are there like branches that are very close to the lens and just okay. Okay, that makes sense.
It's shot through some grass with water drops on. And that was against the light, so I got these beautiful bubbles.
And those little specks of light in the background, those are water drops. That's just natural light, like refracting through water drops?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Those look like fireflies.
Yeah. I know.
So I guess that's one of the beauties
that makes
of shooting.
Obvious. Yeah, why I keep that lens.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also makes sense why you're shooting that on digital, because like for that kind of thing, you've really got to get the exact angle of where you're putting the camera right, and presumably the plants are moving a little bit, so you got to try that multiple times.
Yeah, it was actually not that bad because you can so nicely focus that one also with a focus peaking. I don't need that many shots as I expected. I was also thinking I would need a lot more, because on film I definitely needed a lot more, which made film quite expensive. But it actually works it works beautifully on digital, just because of the focus peaking and because of the how the lens is designed. Many of these old soft focus lenses have the problem that you have to stop them down to focus them, and then you might get a focus shift when you get back to your softest, and it never really looks right. You don't have that with the Eidoscope. You actually because you have a sharp image underneath, you can actually focus it. It's it works nice.
It's also,
I like it.
Yeah, it's also an excellent example of a photograph where people might say there's nothing to photograph where I am or whatever, because the plants that we're looking at here, I mean, I recognise these plants, they're like wild things, and they're not particularly attractive. I mean,
no. And it's in the winter, so there isn't anything on those. There's no flowers, nothing.
Exactly, but you went out there at the right time. There was, water droplets all over the place. You shot into the light, and you made something out of. I mean, what you're looking at there was not there. It was, but it's a vision that could only be created by using a very specific lens.
Exactly. You couldn't do that without the lens. It's the lens that does this image.
Yeah.
And you have to find the right images for that lens to make it shine. Otherwise, it's just a lens. I've also shot it on the beach, and I got some really lovely pictures. And now I need to check if I actually have one of them also on my Instagram, but I don't think I have. No, I think I have them only on my Facebook. Where the ocean then gets really also into the light, sunset on the beach, and you get a real shimmer across the ocean from that. So, and when the other nice thing is when you stop it down, it's just a regular landscape lens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's fully sharp. Because of the construction, it loses its softness when you stop it down. So, and then it's just you can use it for everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's really nice. I like it. That's number 3.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that it's a great demonstration of how a lens could drive your photography, because you understood what that lens would do, and then that enabled you then, or encouraged you to seek out circumstances where you could actually make something special because of the lens that you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, 2 other quick things about that lens. It strikes me that the sort of layer of sharpness that you talk about underneath the soft focus is really a noticeable thing, because again, my mind drifts to the lights fan bar, which I don't really like.
You can't tell that. Yeah.
But because that looks like the effect of smearing Vaseline on a filter.
Yes, exactly.
But this doesn't look like that, because it's almost like there's an overlay of the image that's slightly out of focus on top of, you know, a normally sharp, and that's you know, a kind of signature look of this sort of lens.
Yeah.
If Johnny was with us now, it must have been about 10 minutes ago, he would have used the phrase "sharp, not sharp."
Yeah, sharp but not sharp. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, I noticed that the version that you have is black.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's something about the number 4, but I've seen these lenses in like black and chrome, and I don't know if you know if there's a difference. Not chrome, sorry, brass.
Actually, brass. Yeah. I actually don't know, but I know there's also, you have the original ones from Hermagis, and then there comes the later ones. They are from, what's the name? Another French one. They were bought. So they are Berthiaud, Hermagis Berthiaud. I don't know if they changed something. Some Berthiaud, yeah.
Yeah, some Berthiaud, yeah.
I don't know if that is part of the difference, but I don't know. I only had the black one, and I only had it in the number 4 one. So I don't know if there is a difference. But yeah.
That's cool. Just as a random aside, Simon, one day we have to do an episode on some Berthiaud lenses.
And the nice thing then about the speed graphic that I also have with me on the island, I can already shoot that with the Hermagis and have all the tilt that I want. Exactly. And can shoot it in its native 4x5. So that's why I chose the speed graphic.
Makes sense. Yeah. And then finally, there's going to be a lens that you can bring with you. Yeah. And you don't own this lens. It's a lens that you really, really want to bring with you. What would that be?
And that was I couldn't make up my mind. I really couldn't. That was the most tricky question. I would love to try a Pinkham & Smith soft focus lens.
Okay. Pinkham & Smith soft focus lens. Okay. Okay. Let's pretend we know what that is.
You can Google it.
Yeah. Well, that's stumped us. Tell us about a Pinkham & Smith lens.
Yeah, they are also very old vintage soft focus lenses, and they have a very special quality to them. They have a level of softness. I actually think the Cooke PSE 945 that was based on a Pinkham & Smith design when they redid that new lens Cooke. Yeah. When they came out. I think the original one was Pinkham & Smith. I don't know if it was the visual or the synthetic. They had different versions on the Pinkham & Smith. But then I decided that there is actually a Pinkham & Smith Cine lens, a 70-something millimeter. And that got me then thinking that I definitely would love to try a real Cine lens. Maybe that Pinkham & Smith, maybe another one. I'm not that familiar with all the Cine lenses. I've seen a few really nice examples, but I would love to have a Cine lens with me. Maybe a really, really special, really film one. So that would be, that would be something for me to take as a special one. So and there I'm open for suggestions.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, Perry's been Googling furiously. I can see this. So,
well, I'm reading the Cook Optics website about the PS945, which is wait, Isabel, did you used to have one of these Cook lenses?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. It was originally based on Pinkham and Smith soft focus lens, but I'm just furiously Googling because I don't know anything about these, but I love Cine Lenses. Like, I'm completely obsessed with Cine Lenses right now, and okay. So there's soft focus.
Mm-hmm. There is a Pinkham and Smith really beautiful Cine lens where I've just seen pictures, and it's a very small one. But that would be like a first go-to before I find out what else there is.
Now, the thing is, when we were chatting about coming on the show, and I was trying to like second guess what you bring with you, and I've got them all wrong. And the lens that I was expecting you to bring was going to be the Cook PS 945.
Yeah. Well, I don't own that anymore, so
right.
That left me already.
So,
actually, I would not have brought it. I would probably. It's a beautiful lens, but if I could have the original ones, I would love to try the original ones, where it's based on.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So,
so I'm just looking randomly here. And just for some context, there's some dude on some cinematography forum looking to buy 4 lenses, and the ones he's requested are a Pinkham and Smith Series 7 2-inch f3, a Cook Anastigmat 51.7, a Hugo Meyer Plasmat 91.5, and a Dallmeyer Super 6 Anastigmat. So we're talking that kind of family of lens, right?
Yes, we are.
That's very cool.
We are talking,
and so, do you know what the specific one you're looking at in terms of the cinema lenses?
That's always the problem. When I start with something like that and get my eyes onto something, I first want to have everything and try them all. So that I really know the specifics and how I would shoot them. Because pictures that you see on the internet, they only tell you how that photographer shot it.
Absolutely.
So you find pictures from the Eidoscope that are completely different from my pictures that I take with the Eidoscope, just because we see things differently. So I would love to just maybe next time the SS Cine sings right next to the desert island, and there is a big basket or whatever coming ashore with lots of Cine lenses on that I can try.
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be a fairly limited selection of Cine lenses that will cover the GFX sensor as well.
Yeah.
But that would be cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So your thought process, like just the trail of gas here. Is it based on, having shot the Cook lens and then wanting to try like the original flavor, or did something else sort of draw you towards this this manufacturer?
Yeah, probably kind of, yes. It started with looking at my soft focus lenses and then taking it from there, and then looking at some of the qualities that Cine lenses have. Of course, definitely that 3D effect, which I also have with the Pentax. So things are coming together from that perspective. So you have this 3D effect. You have usually a beautiful background out of focus areas. I was looking at something on Netflix yesterday, and I was just mesmerized by the background bubbles, but in a non-obtrusive way. So it's not this, when you look at some of the lenses that you have nowadays, they are over the top, I think. I like that the Cine ones, they keep it reduced. They keep it simplified in a way. So they're not going bubbles everywhere. I'm not a bubble everywhere type. I'm a strategic bubble type.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think, and then of course, color rendering, I think, of Cine lenses is just out of this world.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
I'm completely obsessed with Cine Lenses, and the thing that really drives me to them is a lot of the things you talk about, how they're a little bit muted. They're typically in their contrast profile, it's a little bit lower contrast, which I adore. And so colors in particular are very smooth. And then when you get them, you have to think very carefully about the kind of lighting you're using with them, especially in color, because they're the kinds of lenses that if you give them the right scene to shoot, they are just mind-blowingly beautiful. But if you try to use them the way you would, shoot stuff on your phone, it's just like, why? Why would you do this? So I think a lot of them, when you have lighting that is like, especially lighting that's an unusual color or a mix of like warm and cool light, or just where the light itself is a source of coloration in the image rather than like just purely the subject, then they really shine.
Yeah, it's like with the Eidoscope. You have to have the right conditions for that lens. But if you have the right conditions for that lens, then you just, you can't top it.
Yeah. And you know it when you see it, and then you're always just like, what is that? Because the other day, I went to a cinema for the first time in over a year, and the only movie that was sort of showing that was worth watching was Mortal Kombat. So we went. It was my girlfriend's idea. She dragged me to go watch Mortal Kombat. So I was like, all right, that's weird. But I mean, the movie is nondescript, but the opening scene is gorgeous. And I spent the entire opening scene going like, yo, I need to know what that lens is. Like, it's obviously an anamorphic lens. It's obviously some really, really nice cinema lens, but I need to know, like, I must know what that is.
Yeah. And what I also like about the Cine Lenses is how they render things in the dark. As when you have really dark environments, so night scenes or whatsoever. And of course, that also depends on the camera behind it. But still, there is something about that lens that bring out these color contrasts. And Cine Lens.
Yeah, I would imagine some of the larger format, like Cooke Cine lenses, would look very, very cool on a GFX sensor as well.
I think so too. They just wouldn't look very, very cool on my pocket.
No. Yeah.
If you have a
you
better
have
idea,
a cinematic
Perry.
ending.
Yeah. Well, we're not really ending the podcast just yet. It's I just need to somehow get this onto shout outs and coffee donations and thank yous and stuff like that. So
you don't need an elegant segue.
No, I don't, and it's not going to be, is it? So
just say it like that.
Yeah, exactly. So, listeners, we're trying to work out a segue from where we just were, because we seamlessly cut this podcast, so you don't actually know where we've stopped. Well, we've just had a 10-minute conversation, and then we just had several minutes of trying to work out what we were talking about. How do we actually get back into this podcast? And we decided, well, let's just do it like this, which is what we're doing now. We've gone through Isabel's Desert Island lenses, and a really, really interesting collection of lenses that you've put in front of us. And it's great when somebody comes onto the show and names a lens or two that we just never heard of, and you just see Perry immediately heading off to Google and thinking, what's that? What does it do? Can I afford it? And do I want it? Great choice of lenses, Isabel.
Thank you. I enjoy using them.
yes, that absolutely. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to start to wind things down, and the first thing I want to do is to run through those people that have donated to us since the last time that we were on via coffee.com, and I can't remember again how far back we actually said thank you last time, so I'm going to go back quite a fair way, and just to make sure, I think I'm going to cover people. So where should we go? 12th of March. Let's just pick that out. And that was Sarot Seta, I hope. On the 12th of March says, can't wait until the next one. It was quite a while. Sorry about that. And then we had Hong Lee, Mike Epstein, Gary Florjak, and then Christopher J. May says, here's a coffee toast to the beauty of Sonol lens renderings. Thank you very, very much. And then Jeff Wagner, that's Jeff the Rod Wagner, rock on, he says there. Thank you very much, Jeff. And then we have another name that I can't pronounce, and looks like Anonymous, and then it gets harder.
I don't think that's his real name.
Yeah, well,
I think it might be someone who wants to stay anonymous.
you would think that, but then there is
Probably not.
Yeah, well, there is a surname that goes with this, and that's unless this is a bad word in another language. And I can't pronounce it anyway, but it's spelled Svizzero or ZZ, Svizero, I don't know, something like that. And he says, or she says, thank you for pointing me to a couple of lenses I really love. The Coral 4.5 1.5 and the Canon 50mm 1.2 LTM. I just realized there's more on this. I'd have to click on it.
The Coral? Like the Iris?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do we ever talk about that lens?
We did actually. I think you did actually. We talked about it. It wasn't that long ago as well.
Oh, I think it might have been. Was it with Mike Novak?
Could have been.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
Sounds like the kind of thing we might have talked about with Mike. So
yeah, I think we have mentioned Iris Coral lenses.
Yeah. Okay, and then he says, I do not always agree with your views, but always look forward to the next episode. Well, there you go. we don't agree with each other, so I don't see why you would agree with us all as well. So and then Hong Li again, he's back and says, and again, I need to click on this so I can see the full text. Come on, there we go. Thanks for another fun podcast. And for answering one of life's deepest mysteries. What would James Joyce, Marcel Proust, and Kevin Smith have made of? Oh dear, I really should get somebody else to read this every week, shouldn't we? Would have made of. They were uber camera lens nerds. I'm not sure if I've read that right or whether that's just how it is. But anyway, Bong Joon-ho would envy how you switch from Ulysses to Clark's to Lao. Oh dear, he's gone into French. Hong, I can't keep up with you. But thank you very much for what you've just written.
Wait, did I miss something during one of our podcasts? Why do we have two? Why do we have James Joyce and Ulysses? Back to back. Did we talk about Finnegan's Wake or something? What's going on here?
No, I'm pretty sure we didn't. But we have obviously referenced some of these. It's going to be Johnny, of course, as well. I mean, Johnny's obviously said something and he slipped something into a conversation that just went over my head, possibly yours, and Hong caught it and grasped it and threw it back.
Well, I would assume that between the three of us, he would not be James Joyce. That would clearly be you.
maybe I don't know. Anyway, Nigel Cliff, a good show, guys. Even though I was losing the will to live over Johnny's rationale for having two Leicas, anyhow, I'm now a poor pensioner. I'm never going to have one, let alone two. Oh, you can just sell some of your chin-on lenses. And you'll be able to afford. You've got enough of them to afford a Leica 3C or something like that. So then we got Anthony Fregosi says cheers. Then Brian Woolworth, and then a coffee supporter. So thank you very much. And I think we've caught up now. Now then, let's do shout outs. So Perry, have you got any shout outs?
I don't have any shout outs, but I do think. Listeners often complain when you cut out or censor bits that they miss. And I just want to flag to our listeners that the part that Simon is going to cut out during our aside, we were talking about Cine Lenses, and we were also talking about how Isabel's choices of medium format lenses are, in my opinion, two of my top three SLR medium format lenses of all time. So that's cool.
I got the Perry approval. Yay!
They're so good. And just for the record, because I know Nick Lyle will appreciate this. The third one is the the Nikkor 75 2.8 made for the Bronica S mount. Just throwing that out there for a little bit of gas inducement.
Okay. So, Isabel, have you got any shout-outs?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, I've got two shout-outs I wish to cover, both of which are people have contacted us. The first one, Bob Matter got in touch with us back at the start of the month, asking me to mention an upcoming exhibition in Chicago of Vivian Maier's colour work, opening on May the 8th this year, and it is at the Chicago History Museum, not the Art Institute of Chicago, which I assume those two things get mixed up. So there is a collection of Vivian Maier's work starting on 8th of May, and that is at the Chicago History Museum. So I'm sure Johnny will be heading over to that one as well. And the other thing I want to mention is the BoopBoop trigger, which everybody knows about. You know what the BoopBoop trigger is?
What?
No.
No. Well, the BoopBoop trigger is.
I do know what this is. Yes.
Yes, it's an exciting new product from the man that brings us lots of exciting names and calls things a mongoose, and amongst other things. And that's Ethan Moses of Cameradactyl, having made an automated scanning. It's like a film transport. That's what it says. It connects to your DSLR or whatever it is, your mirrorless camera, and you can camera scan a huge number of 35mm images in an incredibly short period of time. He's turned his attention to scanning mounted slides, 35mm mounted slides, and the BoopBoop trigger works on a similar kind of principle to the mongoose, in that it's a semi-automated method. And what you're actually doing, you're actually connecting your camera to a slide projector, which hopefully has got a remote control that will move the image from the slide from one slide to the next. And as it moves it along, it then the slide is mounted in the projector as normal. I think actually without the lens on. I think that's the way it works. I'm not too sure. And as it sends the slide across, it then will automatically trigger the camera. And once you've actually set up the exposure, it will then take a photograph of it, and then you click again, and it moves on to the next photograph. So if you're one of these people with hundreds of mounted slides and you want to digitize them, then the BoopBoop trigger is quite possibly your dream come true, because digitizing mounted slides is an absolute pain if you've got a huge number of them. So there you go. So that's two things. So there was another thing that I don't know if we have time for, but I was chatting with Graham from the Sunny 16 podcast, and over on that podcast they do something called the Cheap Shots Challenge, where they spend a huge amount of time talking about photographs on a podcast, and we've done a bit of that today, but they can make a whole show of it. The idea about that is you take photographs with a cheap camera, and it's just to showcase what you can do with a very cheap camera. And he's been using a bridge camera, an Olympus bridge camera. I think it's an IS 1000, horrible thing, but very versatile as well. Sorry about the stranglers coming into us there. And he's after ideas on what he can actually replace this with. So, Perry, have you got an idea there of a really cheap camera, say under $30, and that would be a good choice for Graham?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I don't even know what that camera is. Is that a digital camera?
No. It's a film. It's a Sunny 16 podcast. It's an analog podcast.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But you said it's an Olympus bridge camera?
They had film bridge cameras. They existed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
And he wants to replace it
with something else. Yeah. But it's got to be something that's versatile. Yeah, so, I mean, that, in theory, a bridge camera is incredibly versatile. But, they've got very slow lenses on them.
Well, I was going to say, why is it's versatile because it has a bad zoom lens on it?
Well, the fact it's got a zoom... In fact, it's got a zoom lens and the flash built into it makes it pretty versatile, doesn't it? It's probably... Well, there you go.
You've got the wrong crowd here to make recommendations on that.
That's right.
I haven't used a single bridge camera in my life.
No.
Yeah.
I used to have a digital bridge camera. I quite liked it. It was an Olympus as well. It was a C8080 wide zoom.
Okay.
I
used digital point and shoot once. Yes,
yeah.
But the bridge camera,
yeah. Well, you don't. You don't. By the way, he's not looking for another bridge camera. I don't think. But
okay, then my recommendation to him is anything else.
Yeah, I think that's a good recommendation there. Isabel, have you got a quick thought of a reasonably versatile but seriously cheap camera that Graham could go with?
No, I don't think so. But anything else, probably too.
Yeah.
I would suggest flea market.
Yeah. Just go out there and just pick something up that you like the look of that fits it. I think that's. Yeah, I think that's one of those things. If you actually go around looking for the camera that you actually want that's been recommended to you, chances are it's going to be too expensive, or you just I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I mean, I've known about this question for a week, and I don't actually know what I'd actually recommend. First thing that's just come into my head is perhaps like an Olympus Trip. Maybe that might be an interesting camera. You can, although they've gone up in price lately. If you go onto eBay and trying to find an Olympus Trip, it probably is now too expensive. But I don't know. So there's some hopeless advice for Graham. Sorry about that. But I think he's going to be doing a show on this on his on their other podcast feed, the Sunny 16 Presents, where you can also hear a really good show on there that comes out every 2 weeks, and that's I Dream of Cameras with Jeff Greenstein and Gabe Sachs. So, which I listen to every time that comes out because it's really good. So that's they my shout out and care in the community for Graham as well. What else do we do? I know. Let's go back to Isabel. And so, Isabel, if people wish to see your work, we've mentioned Instagram, but we can mention it again. And then any other places where they can find the things that you do.
Yeah, I think at the moment I'm otherwise posting on Facebook quite a bit. And then it would be my homepage, my website. That's probably the easiest one, though I have to get the latest project up there.
Yeah. That's
not up there yet. But I'll do that hopefully next week.
Yeah, we'll do.
So, and they all Isabel Curdes, so easy to find everywhere.
That's it. And
once you get the spelling right.
Exactly. And yeah, do head over to Instagram. It's absolutely fantastic that feed on there. So Perry, how can people keep up with the things that you do?
You can find me on Instagram and Flickr at Perry G. I'm still working through a role that is taking me an absurdly long time to get through, and so I still don't have anything to post. But when I do, you'll see it on Instagram. Okay,
and we have an email address, don't we, Perry? And what's our email address?
Oh God! Right, Johnny's not here. I have to remember all these things. It's classiclensespodcast@gmail.com.
Well done. And who are our Instagram friends?
Best Vintage Lens. Check out the account and hashtag where they feature daily sweet shots taken with vintage lenses. And, if you follow them regularly, you'll notice that over the past few months in lockdown, they have evolved from the steady stream of flowers and bokeh shots to more, there's a lot more large format. There's a lot more street photography. There's still flower shots with bokeh, but...
and you can take them with large format.
yeah, as we've seen. So there's some cool diversity on there, and the kind of selection of lenses is in my opinion getting sexier and sexier.
It is definitely, and we have a Facebook group, which is Classic Lenses Podcast. That is our Facebook group, and Isabel's just given us a picture of her dog, a live feed of her dog, and a lovely dog it is too. And you'll be more than welcome to join us in that Facebook group, Isabel. It'd be great if you do, and share some of the pictures and some of your lenses, and people will be drooling over those. Okay, so and let's. Johnny couldn't be with us today, but Johnny, it can be found in our Facebook group. Being grumpy, I think is he unbanned as Johnny Sisson at the moment? Is he back? I'm not sure because he's on the latest ban.
I don't know. I think he's still banned, and so you will find him under a pseudonym, which may be difficult to spot. But if you look hard enough, you'll be able to figure out which one is he.
That's right. And he was banned for making an ironic comment against a racist, and because he actually said something in that there was a complete and utter irony against what this guy stood for, he got banned for it, which is a wonderful Facebook algorithm working against common sense.
Yeah, we had a really fun moment in our Facebook moderation where I think one of Jason Lane's comments got flagged for moderation as racist when he was just mentioning a Soviet lens.
Yeah.
And that was Facebook was like, this is anti-Russian racism.
Yeah.
So they got to tweak that algorithm a little bit because that was weird.
Yeah. So there you go. For me, I'm on Twitter as Simon4. I'm on Instagram as Simon Forster Photographic, and if you stick co.uk after Simon Forster Photographic, you will find my website with lots and more lens caps. Loads of them. I just keep on bringing these lens caps out. So head over there and you can have lens caps in all different colours. And if you want a lens cap to go over the front of a lens and it's a funny size and you can't get a lens cap, get in touch. I can help you out with that as long as you can give me a really good, accurate measurement. So that's it. Isabel, it's been a pleasure again having you with us.
It was a pleasure again to be with you guys.
Yeah. No, it's been great. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed this week's show. We'll be back, I don't know, maybe in 2 weeks, maybe more, maybe less, who knows. But whatever happens, if you can, be like Carl.